I'm Jeff Begase.
On the program today, I sit down with a police chief of a major city.
What happens when people in a community lose trust in their local police?
There's research to support that when people trust the police, you're easy to solve crimes better.
Alexandria, Virginia is culturally diverse. The challenges police are facing here are similar to those in other cities where law enforcement is tapping into new strategies, as well as those that are tried and true to solve crime and build relationships with the community. Are they working as police try to give people peace of mind that they are safe in their neighborhoods?
This is On the Record.
His name is Tarek McGuire, the new police chief in Alexandria, Virginia, who has brought a fresh perspective to policing in his city. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time. What a year it's been. Not only for you, this being your first year on the job here in Alexandria, Virginia, but also the first year of the new administration and the immigration efforts in cities across the country, including here in your city.
Our primary goal is not only to enforce the law, but do it in a way that is humane. Because again, we identify with seeing people's humanity. We encompass people and encounter people every day that are going through crisis, but we also want to have a positive relationship with those people that are within our community. When they see the police, we want them to feel safe.
Is that getting harder and harder to do because of the images that people are seeing across the country? What I believe is that the average person has a hard time telling the difference between federal agents who have police on their back and their local police. Is that an accurate assessment of some of the problems that can arise in communities across America, that perhaps people going forward are going to be confused about who is ICE, who is their local police?
Well, we received that feedback from our community, and we have taken steps and actions.
You're already hearing that.
We absolutely have, probably over the last 8 to 10 months.
What kind of calls are you getting or concerns are you hearing specifically from members of people who live in your community?
Well, I think number one is that they want to be able to identify the difference between federal law enforcement and local law enforcement.
What do you tell them?
And so, two things: it's not just what we tell them, but it's the actions that we have taken place to put a plan in place to let people know what we're trying to do as relates to criminality in Alexandria. And so, for example, we enforce criminal law. We do not enforce administrative orders. And in that case, we still work with our federal partners collaboratively to ensure that there are not criminals that are living in our community. And so there are times that we still work with our federal partners when we go serve criminal arrest warrants or criminal search warrants. And when we do that, they're normally with the FBI or normally with other agencies that do not have to deal with immigration enforcement. And so after serving those warrants, we immediately knock on our doors in the surrounding areas with a uniformed officer to let them know that it was a criminal warrant that we were serving. And we also reach out to key community partners and stakeholders to reaffirm that message. And not only reaffirm that message, but you can look on our social media where we affirm our existence in those communities. And this is important. While it's still not enough for everyone, these are the steps and the action items that we have put in place based off of community feedback. And we want to ensure that we are policing this community in the way that people desire to be policed. And that boils down to us having legitimacy based off our actions and the way that we interact with our community members. There are multiple political climates that happen over time, regardless of where you sit at. Police departments, it's so important that they remain apolitical. And that apolitical thought process for me is to be rooted in the Constitution. There are elected officials. We work with elected officials every single day. We work with people in our communities that have varying opinions. But what's most important, no matter whether you're in Texas, no matter or whether you're in Virginia, is that you treat people with fairness, dignity, and respect.
You say it is important for local police to remain apolitical. Why is it so important?
Well, I think number one, every law enforcement level in our nation has a responsibility. As I talked earlier, federal law enforcement, specific to immigration and custom enforcement, sole responsibility is to conduct immigration enforcement. And if you turn on the evening news or if you are clicking through social media, absolutely you're going to see things that are very disheartening, things that are frightening at times, and you're trying to understand the why behind the actions that we are seeing. I think that it is so important for people to do their job, but not only do their job, but do it in a way that is respectful to where it speaks to the legitimacy of what we are doing as relates to our profession. And so that opinion differs. But I want our community to know that our actions are rooted in our policy. We're going to not only abide by the Constitution, but we're also going to abide by our policies. And again, when you look at the Constitution and those constitutional amendments, it does not specify whether you're a citizen of the United States or whether you're someone that is of a foreign country.
Yeah, if somebody's a victim of a crime, you're not going to stop before you help them and ask them if they were born here, if they're here illegally. You're not going to do that.
When our officers respond to calls for service, they are dispatched, they're given a background about what is going on, and they respond based off of how they're trained. And that is to find out and identify what is happening and what is going on. If there is a criminal offense, and if there is a criminal offense, then they will take the important, appropriate enforcement action based off of what they have been trained to do. Nowhere in our training do we ask people about their immigration status. Again, it's about the humanity that we see in people. And if there's a crime that has been committed and it is applicable for us to take enforcement action, we will take that action.
You seem to get animated answering that question. Why are you so passionate about responding to that question that way?
I've been doing this job for almost 23 years. I know the work and the evolution that goes into police reform and how some people see police reform in a punitive manner. I see police reform in a manner that it takes us to continue to look at what we're doing and evaluate what we're doing to get better. I've done police reform. I've worked with the Department of Justice. I've witnessed some of the most challenging police departments after we have seen national critical incidents. And I know how cops feel. I've listened to them. I've listened to so many police officers that said that does not represent me. That does not represent our actions. We want to get better. We want to do better. And I know when police chiefs take jobs, sometimes, depending upon where you're taking that job at, you're on a clock. You're on a clock to lead a transformation. You're on a clock to lead a restoration, and it takes a lot of work. And so, at the core of every single thing that we do, regardless if someone is involved in a criminal action or any other type of violation, it is based off of trust and compliance. People have to trust you. They have to believe that you're going to do the right thing. And I know that that has taken work and that has taken time.
When Tarek McGuire took the oath and became Alexandria, Virginia's 16th police chief, he inherited a city that had experienced 3 years of rising crime. A year later, crime in the city is down 30%.
I, as the police chief, have not done the crime reduction by myself. It has been because we are developing leaders in the organization. People have stepped forward and they are starting to adopt strategies and philosophies to impart them down to the lowest level of the organization. Not only that, this past year, we had the largest participation in National Night Out in the history of the city. We had over 50 parties within the city where citizens organized community block parties So come in partnership with the police department that has never been done in the history of the city. And it's not because of the police chief. It's because everyone is coming together because we are having improved public safety outcomes within our city. People want to feel safe when they move in around the city. They want to know that those that are causing the issues are removed. And so we have employed evidence-based strategies.
What is that?
People all the time want to speak about evidence-based strategies or evidence-based policing, but it is incorporating scientific knowledge and research into your policing practices.
All right, so what is that? Just data?
It's
You're
not
looking at data? What is it?
it's not just cops on dots, right? It's looking at historical crime information. It's also employing modernized policing strategies that we know that do not harm the broader community that focuses on those that are committing the crimes. And so we are not only looking at crime on a micro level, we're sitting down as a leadership team on a weekly basis, and we're identifying areas in our city that we can build public trust to increase interactions with the community, but we are also identifying those that are bringing harm to Alexandria, and we're trying to work to ensure that there is effective justice by taking them off the street.
A father to 5 sons, McGuire is from Texas. And on the day I interviewed him, he was preparing to watch his son Isaiah, who is a defensive end for the Cleveland Browns. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The Chief played tight end in college after being recruited by Oklahoma State, where he was listed at 6'3" and 255 pounds.
And we want people to see themselves in our officers.
A big man who now has a PhD in public administration and who often quotes Sir Robert Peel. Peel established London's police force.
Peel had 10 principles. One of those principles that stick out with me is from our core value in working with the community is that the police are the people and the people are the police. And so before there was any organized police force, there were people that were guardians of their communities. And so as a police chief or a person that is aspiring to be a police chief, when your time comes, you get recruited all across the nation. There are multiple opportunities that I have been asked about over many years, and it's not because of just solely me, but it's because of those principles that have been instilled in me through my growth and development to become a police chief.
Those principles developed and put to the test as he rose through the ranks over 2 decades. He came to Alexandria with a reputation for implementing crime reduction strategies in partnership with communities in Arlington, Texas, where he rose to the position of assistant chief.
And so when this opportunity came available, it was important for me to go to a city that matched my core values. Core values of valuing people, valuing the diversity of people, respecting persons from all diasporas that match my core policing philosophy. And one thing I will tell you, Jeff, is when you know it's right, it's right. And that's why I came to Alexandria.
What happens when people in a community lose trust in their local police?
There's research to support that when people trust the police, you're easy to solve crimes better. There's better accountability. There's more uniformity when it comes to addressing problem solving in communities. And when that trust is broken, it can either be behind one incident or it can be a cascading period of incidents over time. And so I can tell you by experience that it takes more effort to build that public trust back up. Some people like to talk about it as if it's a deposit in the bank. I more so look at it as not as a deposit in the bank of something that you're trying to build up. I look at it more so as I trust you, regardless if it's good or bad, to do the right thing and to be held accountable.
That trust is being tested, just as it was in the aftermath of George Floyd's murder in Minneapolis, and in 2013, Michael Brown's death in Ferguson. In response to high-profile police-involved incidents, President Obama established the 21st Century Policing Task Force. Chief McGuire, then a lieutenant for the Arlington, Texas Police Department, was assigned as a policing fellow. to the International Association of Chiefs of Police. One of his major responsibilities was working with the Department of Justice in helping police departments implement the task force recommendations.
We're in a different era now. Do the findings of the 21st Century Policing Task Force, do the recommendations still matter?
And I'm going to tell you why they matter. Number one is because they were evidence-based. It took a significant amount of efforts and resources to not only to listen to police across the country, but it was also an evaluation done by the IACP after that, which I had the honor of being a part of, to say, are these recommendations sustainable? You go anywhere across the country today, number one, people want to trust their police department. Number two, that has to do with safety. Pillar number one and pillar number 6 had to do with police legitimacy, right, as it relates to public trust in pillar number 1, and pillar number 6 had to do with officer wellness and safety. Regardless of what happens in the middle of that, of all of those pillars, pillar 1, trust and legitimacy, has a direct reflection on officer safety.
You know those recommendations by heart. Sounds like to me.
Yes, sir. They were the bedrock of shifting the country's mindset when it was very critical, because we had multiple moments where law enforcement's authority was being tested.
You must disperse immediately. This is no longer a peaceful protest.
And I was able to be a part, as of many others, community and police alike, that wanted to see police-community relations improve.
Police-community relations have improved, but Chief Tarek McGuire is keenly aware of the serious challenges ahead.
Whether I do this job 25 years, whether I do this job for 30 years, one day someone will say, "What have you done?" I grew up in the South. I grew up in a Baptist church, and there was a song or a saying that said, "Let the work that I've done speak for me." At this point in my profession, is not about me. It's still more so about the calling that I accepted long ago. And accepting that calling, it is that you will give more of yourself to society, because those are the people that you care about. No different than anyone that's called to the gospel, to be a minister. No different than anyone that's called to the military to protect our country abroad. For me, this is still a calling, and it is a part of my existence here on earth. And so I am a byproduct of those that have invested in me, and now I am seeking to be a byproduct to invest in others that are coming up in this profession.
I'm Jeff the Gaze. Thanks for watching.